All right, let's talk about budgeting for paid ads. Now, running paid ads is an absolute great. We've talked about this. If you don't have a list at all, paid ads is a great way to get in. It's also a great way to get into affiliate marketing if you have a small list, or even if you have a big list, running paid ads is a great way to increase your affiliate commissions. Now, ultimately, you want to look at how to make money doing this. This is what we're really talking about. But I'm going to explain in a second that that may not always be the goal, at least directly. So I want you to start out. We're trying to figure out what our budget is to run for paid ads. Let's just say we're looking at a single campaign, a single affiliate promotion, and I want you to set a budget. So what can you afford to spend? We'll just call it max spend. What's your max spend if you make nothing? In other words, what can you afford to lose? That might be $100, might be $50, it might be $500 or $10,000, I don't know. But what can you afford to lose with absolutely no return? That's your max spend. So in other words, if you've only got $1,000 in your bank account, I would say that number's probably like $100. You can't go spend $800 and leave yourself with $200. If you got $100,000 in the bank, what's $1,000? If you had no return, you have to be prepared to have no return whatsoever. Then I want you to look at what's your goal. So there could be different goals here. It could be maybe to show up on the leaderboard. Your goal is to finish top 10. Your goal, and that could be for all kinds of reasons. You want to be on somebody's radar. They promise their top 10 that they're going to do a reciprocal promotion. So in this case, let's say you spent $5,000 and hypothetically, you made no money, but then they turn around and promote you and they do 20,000 minus commissions. Let's just call it 10,000. Well, technically you spent 5,000 to make 10,000. That's actually quite smart. That's a 100% ROI if I'm not mistaken. So it might be one of those situations, but I want you to think about, okay, what's your goal? If your goal is to be on the leaderboard, maybe that leaderboard is because it gets you a mastermind with the other top 10 affiliates. That's a valuable goal. Maybe you're going to spend an extra $500 on paid ads to get an extra, 500 in commissions. Well, that's a wash. Why would I spend that energy? But that extra, let's call it 5 sales, gets you into the top 10, which gets you a prize worth $2,000. Suddenly, you spent $500 to make $2,500 in total commissions. That's a $2,000 ROI. That's smart. Or maybe it's to get on somebody's radar and you say, okay, I'm willing to break even or even lose a little bit of money. I'm willing to lose a little bit of money so that I can get on this person's radar. Especially if you're doing this in conjunction with an email list, with your blog, with your podcast, great way to get on their radar. I've done that myself. When my second and third 5 days to your best year ever promotions with Michael Hyatt. Before I worked with him, before he was a client of ours, one of the things I did, I went over and I did Facebook ads. I spent roughly, probably spent about $1,000, give or take. And I made money. I actually made a little bit of return, but not worth the amount of time I put in. I could have sent an extra email and made more than I want to say I spent $1,000 and made like $1,400. Wasn't worth my time, but that $1,400, I went back and looked. It was the difference between 8th place and 5th place. Well, that's more so on his radar. I'm not one of his top 5 affiliates. What I was really trying to do the next year that I did paid ads, I was really trying to get into the top 3 because he has a killer trip for his top 3 affiliates. I just missed out and finished 4th. So that can be, you got to really think, what is my goal? What is my number one reason for doing these paid ads? Is it to make money? Well, then you're focused on spending less than you make. Is it to get on a radar? Is it to hop up on the leaderboard? Whatever it is, really focus in on your goal. Now, I want you to ask the AM. Ask the affiliate manager for expected conversions. Now, you can also, in this, ask for tips on, they may have some ideas on Facebook ads or LinkedIn ads or whatever, but ask them for the conversions that they experience from paid ads, from Facebook ads. Let's just say Facebook ads. What conversions are they getting? And if they're getting a 2% conversion, Now keep in mind, they're targeting their audience who's really interested in this product. I typically suggest just multiplying by 0.8. So you could expect a 1.6% conversion in this example. That's a general rule. Sometimes you'll convert higher with better ads. Sometimes you'll convert half as well because they've got better ads. But if all things being equal, you're going to convert somewhere around 0.8% compared to them. Or not 0.8, but just multiply it by 0.8. You're going to convert it about 80%. The next is look at your own commissions or your own conversions. We'll put here conversions. So look at your own conversions from email. If you're doing email, if you're doing blog posts, and again, that's going to give you some idea. So let's just say that he says, the affiliate manager says, we're converting at 2% on paid traffic, and your blog posts and emails are converting at 1.4%. Well, then that's too high for you. You're not going to convert that high most likely. These are the people that are most interested in you, and they're only converting at 1.4%, again, on a click. So you might want to go down to 1% on paid. Again, this is for budgeting purposes. I'm not saying you can't improve these numbers. That's not what I'm talking about here. But for budgeting purposes, you're going to plan on a 1% in that case. Then, what's the commission? You got to look at that commission. Going back to that EPC, earnings per click. Look at the commission, and we're going to need this for budgeting. So, let's go through an example here. Let's get this out of the way here. So if you've got, let's just go with that 2% conversion number, and it's a $1,000 product and a 40% commission. So 400, 2% of 400, if I'm not mistaken, is $8. Yeah, $8. So you will make roughly $8 per click. Now, keep in mind, this 2% conversion here is not from opt-in to purchasing or whatever. This is from click to buy. Honestly, that probably for a $1,000 product is going to be high. So let's go with a little bit more reasonable number. Let's go with that 1%. I want to make this somewhat, somewhat realistic here. Oops, 1%, which means this is our EPC. That's our $4 EPC there. So that's our commission. That's our conversion. We got a $4 EPC. Well, clearly you can't spend more than $3.99 on per click and make any money. So if your goal is to make a lot of money, you're going to want to spend an average of $2 to $3 per click. If your goal is to maximize sales and you're willing to lose $1 a day, $2 a day, or $2 per click, I mean, go for it. Go for it, and see what works, and then figure out what the budget is from there. So, again, depending upon what this number is, what your max spend is, you can use these to come up with your budget. There's no set formula. Ultimately, if your max spend is $100 total, then you're going to probably put all of your eggs into, closer to cart close. Or you might put all of your eggs into the very, very beginning, getting them into the funnel. It kind of depends, and you have to test, honestly, to see what works. Then you're going to look at times of day. You're going to look at ads. Ultimately, you're going to need to test to see what works. But initially, just use what works on it, based on experience. You say, I know my audience responds really well when I post to Facebook from 5 to midnight. Well, don't run ads in the morning. That's what I can say. Run your ads at the times that they work best. But when you're targeting other audiences, you're not just targeting your audience, those times can be differently. So you just have to kind of guess to start with. But you want to narrow it down and only run ads at the times they're going to convert best, and only run ads that are going to convert. And then you set your budget. So in this example over here, let's just say that my max spend is $1,000. That's my absolute max spend. That's all I can fork over. Because remember, you don't get your affiliate commissions for 30 to 60 days later. So if that's all I can spend, assuming no return, then that's about all I'm going to be able to. Now, if you just say, if you've got $100,000 in the bank or whatever, and you want to spend, you just say, I just want to only spend $1,000, you might scale that up as things go well, because who cares if you're going, if you end up spending $10,000 and you don't get paid on that for a while? Not a big deal, right? So in this example here, $4 EPC, I'm probably going to target, like I said, 2 to 3 a click, depending upon what the market says. Figure out, where you're at. I won't get into this, but I do on a CPM basis, typically, because that works better because my ads usually convert a little bit better than average. So you're targeting somewhere between $2 to $3 a click. And if you've got that $1,000 max, that's your absolute max, then what I would probably do is run about 200 a day times 5 days. Now, if on day one you only spend 150 bucks, but you're averaging somewhere in here, you're starting to see maybe a conversion or two, and you're like, okay, this is cool, I'm good, then I would just extend that to, 6 to 7 days. You can't really spend more, and I wouldn't spend more per click. If you're not hitting whatever your cap is, then don't increase this, just increase the amount of time. So as long as it's profitable and you've got the money, then the answer to how much money I'm willing to spend, for me personally, the answer to how much money I'm willing to spend is infinite as long as it's profitable. I usually do set a cap, a daily cap early on to make sure I don't blow through 10 grand and not see any ROI. But you should be able to get numbers over time, from the affiliate manager, from your own, to know this is going to convert at a level that you can actually afford. But just remember, whatever that max spend is, make sure you're very careful not to go over that, because you have to go into this, especially early on, with that mindset. You have to be prepared to lose money at first as you learn what works and as you get the hang of doing paid advertising. So there you have it, how to budget for paid ads. I'll see you in the next lesson.